Hi. Hi everyone and happy new year. I hope everybody is good and you've come back into 2018 with good things, with good good health, happiness, joy, laughter, hope. This just before the 2018 started, I was reflecting on so many things that, I have seen in my life, the good things, the bad things, the everything. And I compared it with what's been happening around the world and what has been bombarded into our spaces within the last few years. Especially since um since when the trend of um everybody's right, when everybody's fighting for one right or the other. Honestly, that word fight, I hate to use it. I don't like using that word fighting for something, because you cannot use negative to get positive. So, and I've been reflecting on it, and what came to me was this 2018 is the year of the Lord, and children of God, children of the Creator, children of the Lord. This is time for us, for you, to speak out, to speak for God, to speak the words that He has put into your heart. For a long time, we've allowed a lot of things to slip into our vocabularies without knowing the power of the words that we proclaim. Every single word that comes out of our mouth has a very strong, it's very powerful. Words that we speak are powerful. Remember, the word was created through your word, proclamation of words. God said, let there be this, and God said, let there be that. And through our words, we can create life or death. What are you creating with the words that you speak? What are you creating with the way you talk? When you talk to people around you, what energy do you release? Just 1st January here, we saw, already on our Facebook timeline, social media timeline, you can see so many people have already been killed. There are so many negative things happening. But now, meanwhile, we are children of the light. We are created, in the image of God. Then you begin to ask yourself, what is going on? If truly we are children of God, how come? How come, we are allowing things, of the negative to overshadow the light? Naturally, once the sun comes out, the darkness goes. If you come into your house in the night or whenever and put on the light, you see that the darkness disperses. The thing is this, when God created us, He gave us the power. He gave us the authority to choose. He gave us the freedom to choose. And He showed us the truth and the lies. He told us the right from the wrong. And He gave us the freedom to choose. Unfortunately, we've been choosing to go to the wrong. And that is the result we are seeing today. We do not have to blame God. Nobody should ever blame God for the results that we are seeing. If you watch back, if you can step yourself back to the last 5 years, you will see, no, for the past 10 years rather, you will see, you can remember from when these vocabularies started slipping into our world, into our daily lives, into when we started accepting these things as good things. For example, before, you never hear somebody say, oh, she's killing it. When you're trying to describing that somebody is looking nice, What has killing something got to do with something nice? So we began to make negative things sound trendy, and they became a natural things in our lives. They became natural with us. Killing became natural. People started killing just for the fun of it. And people would just kill somebody just to put on Facebook, put on social media. And the interesting thing is this, when people say law of attraction, it sounds like a cliche. But it's not a cliche. I'll tell you why. It's not a cliche because it's still there, it's still happening, it is real. Law of attraction is real. What you proclaim, what you focus on, what you release is what grows, is what we see, is what comes around you. When you look all around the world now, look at the US, look at Nigeria, look at everywhere in the world, you see that, all the leaders of every country, people are not happy. The leadership of the world has gone to the dogs. And everybody's wondering, what is going on? What is going on? There's nothing else going on that is not what we have been planting. What is going on, what we are seeing at the top of the affairs of humanity is the things that we've been planting for the past decade. We're only harvesting them now. But this is the time. The time has come for the children of God to begin to uproot those things, outshine the negatives with the right words, with the words of kindness, with the words of love, with the words of caring. We need to begin to bombard our space with positive words. We need to begin to bombard our space. Fuel our space with the energy, with the positive energy that we want to see. Starting from your home. How can you hear with your ears that some people are killing other children? Look at in London alone. Our youths are killing themselves every single day. It's nothing funny. It's not funny. Now, if any child that kills another child, you need to look very closely to the home. What words have been going into the child's ears? What has this child been, what words have been sown in his heart? Actions that you see are just manifestations of words that are planted in us, that are planted in our hearts, in our soul, in our mind. So it is very, very important that we begin to, take responsibility and begin to change these things in our lives. Very, very important that we begin to do things differently. This is a time for us to begin to mind our words. This is a time for us to begin to mind our space. It's a time for you to begin to mind what you tolerate. And it is also time for you to mind how you carry yourself, where you plant yourself, where you keep yourself, what you say to your children, what you say to your partner, what you say to your parents, what you say to yourself. Whose voice are you listening to? What are we listening to? What are we focusing our energy on? When you put on your television, what do you watch? When you come on social media, what do you watch? Everybody's so quick to break a negative news. The bodies of human beings, human beings slaughtered all over the place, is littered everywhere. Nobody is ever is scared anymore to see a dead body. Nobody's scared anymore to see blood. Nobody's scared anymore to see wounded people. I remember myself, even as a nurse in the hospital, when I see blood, it traumatizes me. It was a difficult thing for me to look at somebody who has, an injury. But these days, children 10 years, 12 years, 11 years, they're already desensitized. Life doesn't mean anything to them. What are we saying to them? Gradually, we became relaxed with these negative words. They become trendy. These words became trendy. They become, things to describe things. Words to use in describing things. How can we describe things that God has given to us with negativity? One of the ones that really are really getting to me, that I said I must discuss today, is the leadership of the world. As much as everybody wants to blame Trump, and call him names and say whatever they want to say. Mind you, I'm not a Trump advocate or a Trump fan. I'm not a Buhari fan either. But let me tell you one thing. This is what the Bible says. The Bible says that that God says that He is going to take, our leaders, the king, from amongst you. When a generation have a bad leader, so to speak, then we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of soul searching to do as individuals and as a community or as a nation. How come this is what the best we could produce to lead us? Rather than cussing out your leader, why can't we sit down and say and think to ourselves, how did we get here? This is a question that we are supposed to begin to ask ourselves. How did we get here? How did it get to a point where the people who are leading us, are things that we don't want, are things that you go in every night and you can't even understand it. Then the most interesting thing is that it's become very easy, very formal for people now to cuss out the president, to cuss out the leaders, the queens, the kings. What we don't understand is when you curse a leader of a nation, you're actually cursing the nation. Invariably, you're cursing yourself. If you're a member of that nation. And of course, even if you're not a member of that nation, each nation is, every nation is interconnected. What happens in America influences what happens here. What happens in Nigeria influences what happens in America, in India, everywhere. We are all one, humans. However we look at it. So the important thing isn't that, we call the leaders names and, we trash them. We now have our Facebook, social media. We can type whatever you want to type. Yesterday I came on LinkedIn and this guy that I so much have respect for, and he wrote something about Donald Trump, the president of America. I cringed. It was shocking for me. People can easily use the words idiot. It doesn't matter who you are referring to. Bringing such words around you. Let me use the words of Maya Angelou. She says, these words, just like racism or all those isms, they are poison. These negative words are poison. It doesn't matter who is being sprayed at. It doesn't matter who is releasing it. Do not tolerate poison from wherever it's coming from, whether it's coming from people around you or people bringing it around you. Poison is poison. It doesn't matter how you package it. Yes, we're not going to tolerate, negative performances and actions, but attacking individuals, using vile words, insults on leaders is condemnable. We are created to approve. We are not created to condemn. Our job is not to condemn humans. Our job is to love and care for each other. Our job is to, is to lend our hand, lend our light. Where there is no light, let us begin to put light there. Each and every one of us is talented in our own way. And remember, where your strength begins is where the other person's weakness just ended, or the person's, started. These are two people. Let's say, for example, a husband and wife. If the husband is strong here, know that at this point where your strength starts, that's where your wife's weakness, also started. And that is where your job comes in. That is where the test of your love comes in. That is the test. That is where the test of your faith in God, that the faith that you believe that you're a child of God, that is where it starts. At the point of need, at the point of weakness of the person you say you love, what do? We all are guilty of failing our most loved ones. This is the time. This is the time for us to begin to recall, for us to begin to search ourselves, for us to begin to, reinvent ourselves, for us to begin to immerse ourselves in the Spirit of God, so that the Spirit of God can remind us, who we are and why we are here. You don't have to agree. And of course, for me, there's something I normally do. Whoever the person is, if somebody's bringing negative energy for me, if somebody is not offering, bringing any form of encouragement in my space, I disassociate myself. Not because I hate them, because I know where my own strengths are. We need to begin to know who we are. We need to begin to know our strengths and know where we lend a hand. We need to begin to hold each other up. We need to begin to listen to understand. We need to begin to hear the words. We need to begin to speak words of hope and love, positive words, encourage people. I get all the time people tell me, "Oh, sis, you inspire me a lot." Then it ends there. One of the most abused people in the world are people in the public eye, whether in the big sense of it or in the small sense of it. Everybody takes a piece of you. They are very quick to judge. They are very quick to dismiss you. They are very quick to, judge. Very quick to say, "Oh, she didn't do this, she didn't do that." But they never look into themselves and say, how are we encouraging this person to continue to inspire? We all have responsibilities, whether as a leader or as a follower. Every point where you are, that is where your test is. We all have a story. When you tell somebody that the person inspires you, what do you do to continue to, so that you can encourage the person to continue to stay in the state of being, to inspire people, knowing that it's not by power, it's only by grace. And the grace of, staying in the state of being able to inspire other people means that the people you're inspiring are also there to hold you when you fall. So when you see that that pastors and preachers and leaders and wherever, big, small, niche, and even like how we are on Facebook here, encouraging each other, inspiring each other, how do we continue to encourage people who come out and use their and who God inspires or sends to come and inspire the nation? How do we encourage them to continue to be able to be strong? The funniest thing is that, look, most of the people who suffers the most are the people who appear the strongest. Those people who speak to you and encourage you, they are the ones who need most encouragement. People conclude, what they believe about you without knowing who you are. They take away from you that inspiration. Most times they don't use it because they don't value it, because it came freely to them. Just like we don't value the gifts of God. Just like we don't value the things of God, the free things that God has given to us, we misuse things and we don't have regards for God. That's the same way so many people are very ready to take from leaders and stuff, and at the end of the day they're not there to stand with them, to hold them up, to encourage them. Most times these are the people who lack the most, because they've given out everything, they've given out all of themselves. So when people give out all of themselves to you, whether it's through their spirit, through their prayers, through their words of encouragement, by inspiring you, or by writing books, how do you encourage them to continue to stand? We have a responsibility. We should never be complaining about leaders, about governors, our presidents. Whatever we see in our leadership is a product of what we have planted. All of us are responsible for what we get as leaders. How did we get here? How did we get here that we now have a trend where it's normal for people to call their president idiots? For people to now use to use the F word anyhow. People use any word they want to use at any point in time. Yes, as Princess is writing there, he says responsibility we owe each other. Yes, we all owe each other responsibility, because where your strength begins is also where my own weakness begins. That is why you're there. You don't come into people's space to poison it. You need to protect yourself. You need to guard your space. You need to know what you tolerate, because we already have been given the power to, approve or to, condemn. He says anything that we approve of here or anything that we ban here, that is how it stays. So let us begin to filter words that come into our space. Let us begin to caution each other. Let us begin to talk to people and say, no, sister, brother, don't use that word around me. If you do that again, you are out of my space. And we mean it. Let us begin to bombard our space, social media. These days now, you cannot say, oh, you don't have a voice. Everybody has a voice. You don't need any permission to have your own voice. Go now and check your timeline. Check your Facebook timeline. What have you been posting? Count it. How many positive have you posted? How much have you encouraged positivity within your own space? People are very quick to share pictures and videos of people fighting on the street, pictures and videos of people being killed on the road, pictures and of blood and massacre and stuff. Yes, it's good to raise awareness of what is happening, but then do it in a way that you do not desensitize the human mind. Because our mind does not know the truth. It does not know the right from the wrong. What it does is it takes every information it gives to it, it stores it in, and it begins to manifest. You see young people now, because when they watch all these violent games and things and videos and stuff, they begin to shoot themselves. Even when they don't even understand what it is. How are they owning guns? These are children from families. So we have a lot of job to do. We have a lot of job to do. We have a lot of job to do with, releasing love, releasing, words of comfort, releasing positivity around us. There are so many people who resist love. So many people resist love. When you give them love, they cringe. They respond with, the negativity. They respond with the agitation. You don't blame them. That is when your work begins. When you meet such people, that is when your work begins. Because sometimes these people have never known love. Nobody has shown them love. That is why it's strange to them. So when you show them love, they become suspicious. They become agitated. They become, they begin to panic. Because this is not the world that they're used to. No, Prince, these are the words that we need to begin to remove from our space. Fake, evil, all those things. These are the words we are feeding our minds with. We need to begin to replace these words. The Bible says that from amongst us, that is where leaders are taken from. And it also tells us that the stubborn generation, that he will send you a stubborn leader. So whatever leadership we have now is the product of the society. So we have to begin to check ourselves. We need to begin to sieve these words, fake, all these words, negative words. We need to begin to, sieve them out. And begin to pray for the leaders that God will soften their minds. Because God says that he will harden the heart of Pharaoh. Sometimes it's not the leaders that are doing these things. It is us. It is our sins that is hardening their hearts. So that we will suffer condemnation. But we need to begin to speak words of life into them, into our leaders, into our society, into our children, into our families, into ourselves. If we want to see a change. We cannot continue to dwell in negativity. We cannot continue to dwell in condemnation. We have to flood our space with positive so that negative do not have any space to come in. We've had enough of negative words. We've had enough of it. Anywhere you click on the internet is something negative. So can we begin to say positive? Can we begin to fill people's hearts again? Okay, can we begin to fill the heart of people with positive, with the words of comfort? Can we begin to comfort each other? Can we begin to see people beyond what they're wearing? Can we begin to see people beyond their makeup? Can we begin to see people for who they are and see where we can come in and help them? Can we see ourselves in a light of, what can I give to my neighbor? How can I help my neighbor? How can I help this guy who is so negative towards me? What does he need? What does she need? I am not perfect. So this is what I'm saying to myself and to everyone. So many parents, you see a lot of parents, when they talk to their children, begin to wonder. Then when the child is 13, 14, 15 years, those things begin to manifest in their lives. Those things, the words that were planted in them begins to attract these things happening to their children and in the family. And you begin to wonder. In my own experience as a child, we went through a lot of things in my family. And For the past 2, 3, 4 years now, I've been in the process of helping myself to heal and helping my own family to heal as well, especially my mom. I've been trying to help her to heal. And I was so happy to see her picture yesterday, and she was looking very fresh. That is what positivity does. 2 years ago, my mom was almost at the verge of death. She was so ill, her legs and everything. I keep telling her, don't worry. Do not worry. Worry will only kill the body, kill you, even kill your soul. But focus on the good things that are happening around you. Focus on the good things, the things that are happening from grace, due to grace, because we succeed, or we being inspired is not by our power. It's by grace, unmerited grace. So when you find yourself in a position, or a position where you feel that you're better off than other people, do not take it for granted. You are in that position for a reason. You are in that position to teach people, to lift, souls, to lift hearts. There are so many ways that God has endowed us to help each other. There are so many people who have the money. There are so many people who have the wisdom. There are people who have the words to encourage. There are people who have been gifted to inspire people to unleash their own talent. This is where we are supposed to focus our strength and energy in 2018 if we want to see a world where peace reigns. The peace of this world is not in the hands of Donald Trump. It is not in the hands of Buhari. It's not in the hands of any leader. The peace of this world is in the words that we speak. It's in the words that we allow in our space. Is in the words that we tolerate. Therefore, like I said earlier, this is the year of the Lord. Therefore, we must mind our words. We must mind our space. Mind who you interact with. Mind who you bring into your space. We have to mind what we, tolerate. Especially words, what people say, the words that people say, use around you. When people come to condemn other people in your ears, what do you do? I'm not saying we should tolerate mediocrity and people doing bad things, but you can condemn actions of people, but not people. If a sister or somebody does something wrong, you can tell them, no, this is wrong. But going behind people's back to call them idiots, call them, bad names, call them, you understand what I mean? Those are the things that are killing people. Those are the things that are killing relationships, killing families. People are so scared. People are scared of being who they are. People are scared of coming out without makeup. Why should I cover my face? Why should I cover, why should I cover my insecurity? Why should I even have insecurities? People are scared of, being at the level where they are. When we see people who don't dress like we dress, who don't have, big things that we have, who don't have material things that we don't have, we condemn them, we look down on them. We talk about them. Therefore, people are being forced to do things that they cannot afford. We are focusing on the negative things. We have to mind, people and interactions that we engage ourselves in. And with that, I've come to the end of today's talk. I hope that you got something from it. I have spoken as I'm led. This year is the year of the Lord. Mind the words that you use. Be very careful, be intentional, be purposeful, be deliberate. Anything you're going to do, be sure. Ask yourself, why am I saying this? If these words go out of my mouth as a seed, what kind of plant am I planting? Thank you.